Hi all. So on the form, I've created a separate notification that's just to me. And I noticed something when I looked inside it, and it's the same way up here with admin. So let me just look at admin. So the from email address has been set to stkhomes.net. And that is a domain different from the sending domain stkhomes.com. And there's a warning always in Gravity Forms when you do that that says it may result in deliverability issues. So that is something I think as a practice I would not do. Usually what I do is I put no reply at, in this case it would be stk-homes.com. That way the domain matches and deliverability warning goes away and everything is fine and people see a no reply. You can set up a no reply email address in your system. You can have it come to somebody, you can have it forward, etc., etc. But the from really needs to be something that matches the domain of the site. I'm going to go ahead and run it. Now, if we go back into mine over here, I left it that way just to see if it made any difference with the email coming to me. So I'm going to go ahead and run a test, leaving it at that from email. And sure enough, I received it over here. The form I just filled out, I used all 8s this time. And here it is. So it did arrive, it did send, it was received. If we look at the email log, it shows, yes, it was sent one to me, and it also sent one to these 2 addresses. So as you know, there's 2 parts to sending emails out of websites. There's the sending part that we control on this end, and there's the receiving part that is controlled on the receiver's end, whether there's spam filters in place or any other protections about out of domain authentication and SPIF records and DKIM records and a bunch of stuff that gets into the weeds. But you can check in here to see if it was sent. So we can verify that it was sent to these 2 addresses. We can verify that it was sent to mine, and yes, I did receive it. But even with that, I would recommend you change the from email address in there to be matching of the domain that you have here as I demonstrated earlier. The other thing to note is the outgoing server that we're using for email. Right now, there's a plugin in here and it's set to PHP mail. That means it's sending out through your hosting account's server. And while that may work all the time, it may work part of the time. If you really want the best way, you would send it through an external SMTP server. It could be one of the services up here like Mailgun, Sendinblue. It could be SMTP, which is another service. Could be through a Gmail account. Could be through a forced SMTP server. That is where your email is registered. So there's a lot of choices. Generally speaking, the PHP mail, usually there's a message about that. No, I don't see the message. Usually PHP mail is the least reliable of them, but again, if it works, it works. So you'll be fine there. Just want to let you know that that's another possibility, is the outgoing SMTP server settings over here if you continue to not get emails.